All right, what's up? Brent here. I'm the jazz musician behind the website learnjazzstandards.com. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to train your ears to hear intervals the right way. Now, I kind of really have done a lot of research and a lot of asking around my colleagues, how do they develop their ears? And ultimately, at the end of the day, as jazz musicians, especially as jazz musicians, we want to have great ears. That's going to give us the ultimate freedom and ability to improvise if we have great, solid ears. And obviously, this goes for all kinds of music to have great ears, but especially jazz. And so I've asked a lot of my colleagues, how did you develop your ears? How did you do this and that? And of course, you can learn jazz solos by ear. Lots of listening can help develop your ears. But at the end of the day, I find that if you understand and know the fundamentals of ear training, it can be a game changer and make a huge difference. And a big part of that, one of the most fundamental elements of ear training, is learning intervals, being able to recognize them, being able to hear them, and being able to sing them. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can train your ears to do this the right way so that you truly can hear any interval and associate it with a note, and even possibly develop relative pitch this way if you put in that extra step, that extra effort. Okay, let's jump right into this. I'm going to step behind the computer and show you exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, here I am behind my computer, and what you're actually looking at here is a lesson, actually the first lesson in our ear training course, How to Play What You Hear. It's an ear training course that goes through the basic 4 fundamentals of ear training, which I think are hearing intervals, hearing chords, hearing chord progressions, and translating what you hear to your instrument. And so this is in the intervals module, and we're looking at this first lesson, which we just are focusing on unisons, major seconds, and minor seconds ascending. Now, there's a bunch of different intervals that you need to eventually learn how to hear and recognize and be able to sing. And that is unison, which isn't really an interval, it's just one note played after the other, but it's important to include. Unison, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, tritone, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh, and octave. Those are the ones you want to know, and that's 13 of them. Now, that's only 13 of one. So you have ascending and descending intervals. They're going to sound different. They're the same interval, but they sound different because one is going down from a reference pitch and one's going up from a reference pitch. So in total, you want to be able to recognize 26 different sounds by ear. Now, that might seem like a lot, so here's the pro tip for you. You got to batch learn this stuff, okay? Don't learn it in big chunks, and that's why if you kind of look at this sidebar here, here's all the lessons in this particular module here. We're just doing small amounts at a time. Like this lesson is just unisons, major seconds, and minor seconds ascending. The next one is those same ones descending. So that's the first thing I would say. Start by just working on a few at a time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Now, there are 2 important steps for really being able to learn intervals the right way. So listen up really closely. Number 1 is you got to recognize it. Now, this is where a lot of people stop, okay? They just learn how to recognize what a major third ascending sounds like, what a minor sixth descending sounds like. Oh, I know what that sounds like. I heard it played. Hey, that's what it is. But that's not enough, because step number 2 is the real kicker, where a lot of people don't go, and that is be able to sing those intervals. You got to be able to reproduce it for yourself. I'll talk a little bit more about the importance of being able to sing intervals in just 1 second. But let's move on to the first step. Let's move forward and kind of check out some of this stuff. How do I learn to recognize intervals? Well, let me walk you through it. Let's first take a look at the unison. Now, why is the unison even important to cover, right? It's just one note played after the other, the same note. Sounds like this. Right? Duh, duh, same note. Well, it's important that your ear can, first of all, at the very most basic level, recognize that those are the same notes. Now, the singing part is even more important, but again, we'll get to that in a second. So, unison, important to cover, but let's go to an interval that has a little bit more meat to it, and let's take a look at the minor second ascending. So, here's what this one sounds like. Okay, let's do that one more time. All right. Da, da. Okay. So here's another pro tip for you. Let's call this pro tip number 2. You have to, if you want to do this properly, if you want to memorize these properly, You can go the hard way, which is simply repetition, burn it into your brain. That sound is a minor second ascending. Or you can do the best way possible, which is take a song or a piece of musical content that you're really familiar with and use it to help you memorize that interval. So let me show you, for example, here's a little handout I'm going to open up in our lesson media for this particular lesson. It's songs to help learn minor seconds ascending. Okay, there it is. Here's just a list of songs that I've compiled for minor seconds ascending that you could potentially use to help you memorize it. Now, ultimately, you want to pick a song that you really resonate with. Now, oftentimes these songs are popular songs that everybody knows, like Christmas songs or even nursery rhymes. Those are great songs because they're pop culture. You've probably been hearing them since you were a kid. So those are good ones. But any song that you really know really well that you can associate with. But here's a few. How Insensitive by Antonio Carlos Jobim, great bossa nova. How insensitive, right? Those first two notes, minor second ascending. How insensitive. The Jaws theme song, that's like the most classic one right there, right? Minor seconds ascending. So that's a good one to do. Now here's that Christmas song I was talking about. Christmas songs can be helpful. So I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. So those first two notes, I'm dreaming, are a minor second ascending. I'm dreaming, right? Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder? I love this song. Isn't she lovely, right? Isn't, minor second ascending. Blue Monk by Thelonious Monk, Caravan by Duke Ellington, the Pink Panther theme song, right? Lots of songs you can use. This is just some of them. Ultimately, you want to pick the one that you will recognize it best with, okay? So awesome. So that's the most important thing to do is find just one, not more than one, because then things can kind of get confusing for you. You'll start associating more than one song with an interval, and it can just make things harder. Pick just one song or musical content that you're familiar with that will help you memorize that interval. Okay, let's look at another interval here. Let's go to the major second ascending. Okay, here's what it sounds like. All right, one more time. Da-da. Okay, let's go to similar handout. Songs to help you learn major seconds ascending. Okay, check this out. So here's just another list of potential songs that you could use. Happy Birthday. I have second and third note because if you think about it, the first two notes are just unison. So Happy Birthday. So birth is that major second. In a Sentimental Mood by Duke Ellington. In a sentimental mood. In a major second ascending, right? Here's another Christmas song. They always come through for us. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph. Major second ascending, right? Lots of other songs here. Oh, Silent Night. I mean, there's a lot of other songs. Again, ultimately, the one that helps you memorize it. And if you can commit that to memory, then your brain's going to access it so much easier. And then of course, as the intervals spread apart more, they tend to get harder, especially for descending intervals. I'm not going to really cover descending intervals today, because those are the hardest. That's for your own study. I mean, we could do like hundreds of videos on ear training actually. So this is just kind of packing it all in for intervals right here. So, but like, for example, if like a major third ascending, the song that I like to think about for it is East of the Sun, West of the Moon. East of the sun, and west of the moon, east of the sun, da-da. That's a major third ascending, all right? So I have songs all logged in my head for all these different intervals, right? Major third descending, da-da-da-da. That's Beethoven's fifth, right? Da-da-da-da. So you can come up with all these different songs that will help you. Da-da. Different ways you can just internalize that stuff. All right, now here's step number 2. Step number 2 is really important, and that is singing, being able to sing the interval. Now, the importance of there's a lot of importance to this. Now, the number one reason is that if you're able to sing it, that means that you've internalized that sound. That means if you heard a note, you would be able to reproduce that pitch. Rather than just hearing it for you and then recognizing it, you're able to actually reproduce it, which means you truly do have that unlocked for yourself, okay? Now here's the thing. You don't have to be great at singing. You can hum or whistle if that helps you. You also don't have to be perfectly on pitch. You can be slightly off, a little sharp, a little flat. It's okay. It's not a singing exercise. You don't have to be a great singer. You just want to make sure that you're actually hitting that pitch, and not off on a different interval altogether. So let's try some stuff here so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's do this minor second ascending. This one's tricky. And what's going to happen, this is a sing track. So you're going to hear a note being played, and then I'm going to sing the interval, and I'm going to hold it out as long as I can without losing pitch. And then a second note's going to be played that I'm going to check my work, essentially. Did I hit the right note? So let's try this. Minor second ascending. Da. Okay, got it, right? So I could hear that minor second in my head. And remember, I'm using a song to help me with this if I need to, right? Let's try the major second ascending. Da. Okay, pretty good. Wasn't perfectly on pitch, but essentially I got the right interval, right? So I'm able to hear these in my head. All right, let's try another one just to make it a little more challenging. Further show you what I mean by singing these intervals. Let's do minor thirds, major thirds, and perfect fourths ascending. So I'll go to that lesson really quick. Okay. Sing an ascending minor third. Okay, I'm going to sing an ascending minor third. Let's try this. Da. Okay, I got it. Now, guess what song I'm thinking about for that one? Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, right? Georgia on my mind. That's the one I think about for that one. Okay, major, sing an ascending major third. Okay, let's try this one. I already told you which song I think about for this one. Da. A little pitchy there. That's because it's a little out of my range. But I got it. I got the major third. Let's try singing the ascending perfect fourth. Da. I sang it an octave lower because I can't sing that high. But I got it, right? I got the note right. I think for that one, someday my prince will come. Someday my prince will come. Da, da, right? So essentially, I'm using this recognition system that I have with songs. I can both hear it played and I know what it is. And then if I heard a reference pitch, I've trained myself so that I'd be able to sing that interval at least close to getting it on pitch, right? And maybe not someone who has perfect pitch might kind of squeam a little, get a little squeamish, but I can still hit that. I can still recognize that. So we want to train our ears to be able to do that. And those are the two steps. You go through all the different intervals, both ascending and descending, and work through this training. And this isn't something that you just master in one go. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of effort and a lot of work. And the more you do it, the more it gets better. And it's also something you have to keep up too. If you kind of let it slide a little bit, you might get a little rusty. So you have to kind of always keep this stuff up. And that's really music in general. You have to keep it going. So those are my 2 steps for learning how to hear intervals the right way.
All right, so I hope that helped. Happy practicing. The more you practice this ear training stuff, the easier it gets in my experience. I do actually have a free handout to offer you though as well. It's our Ultimate Ear Training Blueprint and Video Lesson Series. So if you want to see a little bit more of me talking about this stuff, going through even more steps for ear training and really getting it under control, go to learnjazzstandards.com/ear training. I'll send you that free blueprint right away. All right, so if you like this video, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you like our Facebook page, and of course, make sure you sign up and join our newsletter at learnjazzstandards.com/join. I'd love to see you there. All right, I'm Brent, I'm signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.